Hi Capricorn, welcome to your first half of January 2017. It's Rena here. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing my typical spread, but I just got in the mail this new deck, which is called Keepers of the Light. I don't know if any other readers have used that, and I'm going to pick a card from there too. The illustrations really grabbed me. I'm really a big, visual person, aesthetics. That's why I like this Morgan Gurr deck for the same reason. And so, yeah, I'm going to pick one of those cards too. So this is for the first half of January when the sun is in your sign, Capricorn. You're coming off of a new moon on the 29th of December in your sign. And, for the first 8 days, there's going to be a Mercury retrograde. It began in your sign and went back into a later degree of Sagittarius, so back into the 12th house. And then it goes direct around the 8th, and then things should get back up to speed. Okay, so I'm just shuffling here. And this is a general reading, but sometimes a certain trend indicates more of a love or personal relationship type of vibe to it. So I might go with that if that's what I get from it. But I do try to include both possibilities because I know that some people, I do have separate love readings. Some of these cards I'm going to have to just tell you about. I've got my camera at a very precarious angle, so I can't move it too much today. And I'm going to pick an extra card because that is, okay, there we go. And then I'm going to pick one from here because what I'm going to be doing with this, what I like about this is they give a few keywords. I don't have to read from the booklet. I don't want to really read from the booklet. That kind of takes away from just the whole oracle vibe to me. So I'm just going to pick this card and we'll see if it connects to the theme of the tarot. So this is Saint Germain. Oh, I love Saint Germain. I got an activation with Saint Germain recently. The Violet Flame. Okay. So the overall theme is the Chariot card. So that you might have some kind of success that comes in the first half of January. That's what the Chariot card represents, Capricorn. And it's a kind of a victory where you see that the man is holding the reins. So it's something that is, you really have to kind of keep your focus and take charge. It's not something where you're sitting back and eating bonbons and things just, fall into your lap. But that's kind of how you roll anyway. You're always like, you actually believe that you have to work hard in order to get things, in order to have successes in life. So that's not something that would bother you. But there could be opposing forces, let's put it that way, that are kind of making it more difficult. And of course we have the Mercury retrograde, which doesn't help matters. But I also think that it could relate to Cancer. Now we have a full moon in Cancer because the Chariot is connected to Cancer. And, Cancer is ruled by the moon. But there's going to be a full moon in Cancer on the 12th of January. So full moons are always oppositions to the sun. This will be in your 7th house, your opposite to your house, your first house. So it's going to be in the relationship sector. So there could be something, and this is the long-term relationship, not someone you met yesterday. So it would be a spouse, a domestic partner. You could find out something about them. Some people could be leaving their spouses, but you could discover something. The full moon can bring something to light. For some people, they could have almost like a new phase in their relationship where there's like they're realizing that there is still something left in that relationship. So actually, if you look at that Chariot card in terms of relationships, it could be that it's related to the fact that you were able to make some, marriage work, and maybe you've been having rocky times. And I've actually, gone into some of that with the 2017 forecasts. And so in the recent past, and this is like kind of piggybacking on that, we have the Two of Swords. So having to make a decision about something. If this is an actual air sign, I would think it would be like a Gemini individual, but, that was the first thing that popped into my mind because there's like this duality with Gemini. But, it could be a Libra for sure because Capricorn and Libra do sometimes hook up because they're both cardinal signs and they form a square. Squares are irritating, challenging aspects, but, sometimes opposites attract, don't they? Or it could be an Aquarius. That could be, somebody that you haven't made up your mind whether or not you want to be with that person. Maybe the Cancer person is somebody new. That's always a possibility as well. But regardless, some of you may be kind of deciding whether or not to get divorced. Because I see, and this is again, that you see a moon in the picture. This could be around the time of the 12th, where you say, no, I'm out of here. This is not serving me. This is not what I want. I'm not feeling it. Whenever you see cups, the emotions are engaged and they're not, the person is on a quest, but it's a quest to fulfill themselves emotionally. And so I believe in Anthony Lewis's Tarot Plain and Simple, they say in a month's time. So if that's true, what I recall, that, this may play out over the course of another 30-day cycle where, things could change even then. But for some of you, you have had enough and you kind of like are out of there. And, that card may just be symbolic of the fact that you are going to leave. Remember that this is a short period of time. Most people do not have major events occurring back to back to back, in 2 weeks. I understand why people take things literally because we're trained to, but remember that the tarot and even astrology to some degree, although I think of astrology as more scientific and actually more exact in terms of, transits. But particularly with the tarot, it's so flowing and fluid, and I don't think that it's wise to kind of try to nail things down with the tarot. Just kind of look at the themes and see if they reflect things that you're going through personally, and it may give you a message that way. So the higher message is the Three of Wands. Whatever's going on now, this could definitely be a situation in the workplace, because this is a card of the person who is a business maven, okay? So this could definitely be, now this would be you wanting to do your own thing and to even to travel, to expand, to get beyond your four walls. The number 3 is a creative number. So it's something that is all about expansion. Okay, and it's right below the Chariot. So I feel like if this is a workplace situation, that you are like totally, bringing it. But it could be a situation where you decide, even though you're successful at what you do, you don't want to do it, and because you were indecisive about something. So sometimes it's not just about the money or even the prestige. It's about whether or not your heart's in it, because that's what the Eight of Cups is all about. And then this is the higher message with the Three of Wands. So it could have been that you wanted to do your own thing and you want to call your own shots, and you're not allowed to do that, in your current position. Capricorn, being a cardinal sign, likes to call the shots. And if they are a subordinate, if you're in a position where you take orders, that is not a good fit for you, generally speaking. Obviously, this is a general reading. But in general, Capricorns like to give orders, not to take them. Because it's just the natural order of things that you should be in a position of authority. And your life is dedicated to kind of climbing that ladder of success. But sometimes I think a sign like Capricorn might gravitate towards a corporate environment or that kind of a thing, because there's a structure, because they feel like there's a certain safety in it or a prestige, and maybe they doubt themselves. But in this particular instance, you may have kind of come to the place where you have gone as far as you can go. And you may be continuing to be very successful, because I have a feeling, if that Chariot card is any indication, that you have still managed. Maybe you've been clawing your way higher and higher, but you've been facing more and more opposition. And you've just had enough, because you want to be able to implement things in your own way, and you could have been, being stymied, thwarted from that. So you want to go your own way. And that's what the Three of Wands represents. And this is I like the message. I like that card, the message from the universe, the higher message, because it sometimes differs from that, the theme, which is the Chariot card. In this particular reading, it differs from it because that's the mundane situation. This is what it's really all about. Now, what crosses you is the Six of Swords. I'm reading it like a reverse card. So this could be you not ready to go your own way. I see the Six of Swords and the Eight of Cups in a very similar fashion. Both can indicate moving, and it could be moving your physical residence. But with that Six of Swords, in a challenge position, you may be afraid to do it. You may be afraid of what if it doesn't work out? And that is one of those things that can keep somebody in a rut. And only you can, know when is the right timing to do certain things. But always keep an open mind towards the possibility, because definitely some of you may be feeling emotionally, I'm done, and yet still haven't actually taken any action. And that can lead you to feeling, even more frustrated as you continue to be somewhere that you don't really want to be. The advice is the Two of Pentacles. One thing that really jumps out at me is that you see there's a ship in the background. This could mean travel over water. So for some of you, the advice is to maybe you have another opportunity and it's really far away, and that's what's kind of keeping you a little bit, stuck in place. I know a lot of people, are going, not just from the United States, are going, to other countries to look for work or to get work, but even within Europe, going to different countries. I have had clients that, have gone to China to work, and these far-flung places. So everybody's traveling everywhere, right? And so that could be something, and of course, since it's so common these days, it might apply to some of you, and yet you might be like, oh my God, I've never been to this country, I don't know what it's about. Definitely research, do your legwork before you go there, and then you can see if it's a good fit for you. But this could also mean do a side gig. If you have something else that you want to bring into the world and you don't want to quit your day job, then do something on the side until you can feel that it can at least support you. You might have to pare down your lifestyle for a while, but definitely if you don't have anything to fall back on, and your job isn't just like totally like life sucking, you might want to do the thing that you really like to do on the side until you can make it more of a career and not just part-time, gig. And then you can satisfy that tendency to be very cautious. So that's a possible piece of advice. If there are relationships involved, it can indicate that you may be, for one thing, it could indicate that you're too busy with your career to be dealing with any relationships, and you may have to be juggling relationships, but it may mean, just like that, Two of Swords, that you're torn between two possibilities. So there might be two people. One of them may be an earth sign. That would be Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, and possibly, as I said, the central piece of this is Cancer. Now that could just be the Cancer new moon. I mean full moon. It doesn't have to be that that's the actual person. But, for some of you that may apply that it's a Cancer, that's your opposite sign. And then for some of you, it could be that it's an air sign, or at least that you had been dealing with one. If you had been dealing with a Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, that person may come back maybe during the Mercury retrograde, first week in the month, and, cause more problems, headaches. So just be on the lookout for that. But if there's an earth sign, it may be saying that is your better bet. I think out of the two elements, that for many of you, the earth element is more compatible, more pragmatic, more along the lines of what you're into. But that's just like a generalized thing. And then the outcome is, I did pick another card because this one is not really the kind of outcome. This is a card of mourning, the loss of something. So it could be, as I said, I said that some of you may have to go to divorce court. And during that full moon, that realization will really come to you very clearly for some reason. And you will have to mourn that loss. And you may feel, that was one of the things too with Capricorn particularly, it may not be so much an emotional loss, even though these are cups and deal with emotions. It may be that you feel a sense of failure, that you couldn't make it work. And really, that is, to me, in a very subtle way, that's kind of like an ego thing, where it's like, especially with Capricorn, wanting those traditional, that family intact, that you may feel like, oh my gosh, I couldn't hack it as a spouse. Even if you feel like you tried to do everything you could to make the relationship work, you might still feel like you were a failure. And that's something you're going to have to deal with if that is true for you. For other people, it can be a sense of, like, even in terms of a job that you, maybe it was a job that you really thought was your dream job, and you have to mourn that loss because you found out that it wasn't what it was cracked up to be. What I see a lot, or sense, I should say, more than see, is that people get caught up in the trappings of something. And I could totally see a Capricorn person getting caught up in the prestige of a specific position, and, if it's a professional job and I'm this, and feeling like this is who I am, this is my identity, when it's not, your identity isn't wrapped up in your job title. And the more that you can embrace that, the better off you'll be, because the Three of Wands is a card of enthusiasm and adventure. And Capricorn is a sign that they say gets younger as they get older. And this means that you're born, if you look at baby pictures or childhood pictures of Capricorns, and I have, you can see sometimes that there is kind of like a curmudgeonly old man or old woman kind of a face. And when they get to be older, they can kind of like let their hair down more. And this is because Saturn favors old age. And this is your ruler, is Saturn. And so as you get older, you tend to be more comfortable. And some Capricorns might even look forward to getting older. And they don't fear it because they're more comfortable with this idea of, that's the natural order of things. So it's very interesting. And so you may have to mourn some loss. So it may be a loss that you initiated. So I'm not saying it's something that happened that you did not initiate, but you may have to, it could be like the loss of a dream. But it might not have even been your dream. It might have been something else, somebody else's dream. And then I picked another card, and it was the Hangman. It's a card of like being in suspension and allowing things to work themselves out. I really like let go and let God, or say, in the law of attraction material, they say something along the lines of, how this is made manifest for me is none of my business. All I know is that this is what I want, and you know what? I'm going to leave the universe to fill out the details. I don't need to know what the details are. I don't have to like agonize over the details of how this is going to come into reality, but it is going to come into reality because I decree that it's going to happen. So you're going to be, and I had said this to you in your 2017 video about just the idea of surrender, which this card represents in the upright position, is surrendering to something, and I said, you guys have Pluto in your sign, until the 2020s. So you have to learn, Pluto ain't playing. Pluto will do what Pluto does, and it will, I was just thinking of a roto-rooter, will take you and make you, over. You can get an extreme makeover, Capricorn, but it's not going to be overnight. And so some of these events that occur, whether it be in relationships or otherwise, it could be like your career aspirations may totally change. All of these things happen so that you can become a better version of yourself. And yes, there is like a bit of dust in between as you're under construction right now, but it's all good. You have success in the Chariot, and the only thing is that there might be some emotional residue, and but you've got this. You know how to deal with it, and I have every faith that you will. And let me talk about the Oracle card. So this is Saint Germain. I've never used these cards before. Move beyond drama. Create your own path. Make room for good energy. Well, since I have never done these cards, let me see if they have any further info. It says in here, karma releasing. Move beyond drama. Create your own path. Make room for energy. Karma is the spiritual law of cause and effect. We experience many levels of karma. Some we inherit from our family, and some from the people we keep helping out of problems they keep creating. Saint Germain is here now to clear your energy so that you no longer have the weight of the world or your loved one's world on your shoulders. Be aware that an old pattern is leaving your life. And creating space for something more loving to enter. Visualize yourself surrounded by a fiery violet cloak to release all the karma you no longer need. The violet flame. Now, so let me show you this card again. Isn't that beautiful? Those purples. Oh, I love. That's like one of my favorite colors. And this is the back of it. And as I said, it's called Keepers of the Light. Oracle cards. Kyle Gray. So, yeah, I definitely see that in a Pluto is a karmic entity. So, the Pluto in your sign could be a lot of karmic baggage being released from you over the, course of, the last, since 2008. So think back to then, until 2023. So yeah, about 16 or 15-year period. So anyway, Capricorn, I hope you enjoyed this, and good luck to you as the year begins. Take care. Bye.